Some names are spoken only in whispers. They carry the weight of history's darkest chapters. Idi Amin Dada. That is a name that echoes with a chilling resonance across the African continent and beyond. He was once a celebrated soldier, a man of the people. He rose to become the president of Uganda, a position he would hold from 1971 to 1979. In those 8 years, he would earn a title far more infamous than president. He became known to the world as the Butcher of Uganda. The stories that surround his rule are a brutal tapestry of power, fear, and unimaginable cruelty. A stark reminder of humanity's capacity for darkness. He was a figure larger than life, both in physical stature and in the terrifying shadow he cast over his nation. His image became synonymous with a particular brand of tyranny, violent, erratic, deeply personal. Idi Amin's story begins not in a palace but in the humble landscapes of northwestern Uganda. He was born sometime in the mid-1920s, his exact birth date lost to the unrecorded histories of the time. He came from a modest background, a member of the Kakwa ethnic group. He received little formal education. His path was not one of books and classrooms, but of raw strength and ambition. In 1946, he joined the King's African Rifles, a colonial regiment of the British Army. He started at the bottom, working as an assistant cook, a position far removed from the power he would one day command. But Amin did not stay in the kitchens for long. He was a formidable physical presence, standing over 6 feet tall and possessing immense strength. He excelled in the world of soldiers. He became Uganda's heavyweight boxing champion, a title he held for 9 years. His superiors in the British Army saw him as a loyal and effective soldier, if perhaps a bit unsophisticated. He was promoted through the ranks, slowly but surely. He was known for his charisma, his ability to connect with ordinary soldiers, but also for a streak of brutality that he demonstrated during operations to suppress uprisings, like the Mau Mau rebellion in neighboring Kenya. When Uganda gained its independence from Britain in 1962, Amin's position in the new national army was secure. When Idi Amin's tanks rolled through the streets of Kampala, they were not met with universal fear. For many Ugandans, it was a moment of celebration. The government of Milton Obote had become increasingly authoritarian and unpopular. His secret police were feared, and many felt that their voices were not being heard. Amin, in his first broadcasts to the nation, presented himself as a simple soldier, not a politician. He promised to hold free and fair elections, to release all political prisoners, and to restore democracy. He claimed his coup was not for personal gain but to save the country from chaos and corruption. In those early days, Amin played the part of the people's champion with masterful skill. He toured the country, giving grand speeches in a mix of languages, connecting with ordinary citizens. He organized lavish parades and public events, filling the air with music and a sense of national pride. He decorated himself with an ever-growing collection of medals and adopted a dizzying array of self-bestowed titles. His Excellency, President for Life, Field Marshal Al-Haji, Dr. Idi Amin Dada, VC, DSO, MC, Lord of all the beasts of the earth and fishes of the seas, and conqueror of the British Empire and Africa in general, and Uganda in particular. It was bizarre, but it was a spectacle. He understood the power of image and media, inviting journalists and charming them with his boisterous personality. He was a showman who knew how to command a stage. He released political prisoners, winning praise at home and abroad. For a brief moment, he seemed different, bold, promising a better future. The mask of the benevolent liberator did not stay on for long. Soon after seizing power, Idi Amin unleashed a wave of terror. His primary tools were the army and a new set of intelligence agencies he created, most notoriously the State Research Bureau. These organizations were given absolute power. They answered to no one but Amin himself. Their mandate: eliminate all enemies of the state, real or perceived. In Amin's paranoid worldview, enemies were everywhere. The era of disappearances had begun, taken from their homes in the middle of the night, dragged out of their cars at military roadblocks, vanished from their offices, vanished from their farms, vanished from their places of worship. Victims came from all walks of life: politicians, judges, academics, journalists, business leaders, religious figures, ordinary farmers. Anyone who questioned the regime, or was merely suspected, could be targeted. Families often never saw them again, never knew what had happened. They were simply gone, erased by a state at war with its own people. The methods were unspeakably brutal. Torture was widespread and systematic. The SRB headquarters at Nakasero became a whispered place of fear. Survivors spoke of beatings with sledgehammers, electrocution, mutilation. Public executions became state-sponsored spectacles, a gruesome warning. In August 1972, Idi Amin made an announcement that sent shockwaves through Uganda and the world. He declared that he had a dream, a divine revelation from God. In this dream, he was told to expel the country's entire Asian population, a community rooted for generations, cornerstone of the economy, traders, industrialists, professionals. Amin gave them just 90 days to leave, allowing them to take almost nothing but the clothes on their backs. He accused them of milking the economy and sabotaging the country. The expulsion was a human tragedy and an economic catastrophe. Roughly 80,000 people were forced to abandon homes, their businesses and their lives. They became refugees overnight, scattered to the United Kingdom, Canada, India. It was an act of blatant racism, rooted in resentment and a populist desire to seize wealth. Amin claimed to put the economy back into Ugandan hands. He promised prosperity as citizens took over businesses. Reality was the opposite. Shops looted, then shuttered. Factories ground to a halt. Machinery fell into disrepair. Supply chains collapsed. Agriculture withered. The economy went into freefall. Basics disappeared from shelves. Currency collapsed. Infrastructure crumbled. Hospitals lacked medicine. Schools lacked books and teachers. The economic war plunged Uganda into poverty and chaos. Amin had broken its economic backbone. Beyond the documented atrocities, mass murder, political persecution, a darker set of rumors began to swirl around Idi Amin. These were stories beyond conventional tyranny, into ghoulish folklore. Whispers grew into headlines, tales spread worldwide. Amin was not just a killer, but a cannibal. It was said he kept severed heads of rivals in a freezer, sometimes speaking to them, even consuming the flesh of his victims. These stories painted him not merely evil, but monstrous. Sources were varied and hard to verify. Terrified refugees, political opponents, foreign journalists. Some former ministers, after defecting, gave chilling interviews of bizarre, violent behavior. One infamous tale alleged he dismembered a wife and had her limbs reassembled, amplifying his depraved reputation. The rumors shaped global perception. Amin seemed to revel in terror, mastering psychological warfare and making bizarre, threatening statements. He once sent a rambling, vaguely menacing telegram to Queen Elizabeth II. Whether he cultivated cannibalism rumors is unclear, but his brutality made anything seem possible. Mass killings, torture, and abuses are proven by testimonies and forensics. Cannibalism claims remain gray, no definitive first-hand proof accepted by a court or credible body. The stories persist as potent legends symbolizing ultimate dehumanization. They may be true, exaggerations or propaganda. The uncertainty itself is part of the terror he inspired. The uncertainty itself is a part of the terror he inspired. As the horrors became widely known, the world reacted, slowly, inconsistently. Some nations first worked with him, Great Britain providing early support, but killings mounted, and with the expulsion, ties soured. The United States closed its embassy in 1973. Amnesty, Amnesty International and others published damning reports, disappearances and torture in grim detail. Amin treated diplomacy as a game, reveling in taunting leaders. He declared himself the King of Scotland, offering to fix Britain's economy. He played Cold War powers, seeking aid from the Soviet Union and Libya's Muammar Gaddafi, after being shunned by the West. For a time, it kept him afloat. In 1976, an Air France flight was hijacked by Palestinian and German militants, forced to land at Entebbe. Amin welcomed them, Ugandan troops supported. Israelis and Jewish passengers were held for prisoner releases. Israeli commandos flew in, landed, killed hijackers, freed hostages, destroyed a chunk of Amin's air force. A profound humiliation, his weakness exposed. The final act was triggered by his own aggression. With his regime crumbling, he made a fatal miscalculation. He invaded and annexed Tanzania's Kagera salient. The invasion was brutal, looting, killing, destruction. He challenged President Julius Nyerere, a longtime critic who sheltered Ugandan exiles, including Milton Obote. Nyerere decided enough was enough. Tanzania's army joined with Ugandan exiles of varied politics and ethnicities, united to overthrow Amin. The Tanzania People's Defense Force and the Uganda National Liberation Army launched a counter-offensive. Amin's once feared army proved a paper tiger, demoralized, ill-equipped, divided. It collapsed, city after city fell. On April 11, 1979, liberation forces marched into Kampala. The city erupted. Amin's statues fell. Torture chambers were thrown open. Crimes exposed. But Amin was gone, fled just before the fall. He escaped to Libya under Gaddafi's protection, then reportedly to Iraq and finally Saudi Arabia. He settled in Jeddah, living quietly, comfortably, with a Saudi stipend, on condition of no politics. He never faced trial. He never expressed remorse. He died of kidney failure on August 16, 2003, buried in an unmarked grave, a quiet end to a violent life. The story of Idi Amin does not end with his death. His legacy is etched into the soul of Uganda. Deep, generational scars, hundreds of thousands killed left grieving families, communities were robbed of leaders, teachers were lost, innovators disappeared, economic devastation took decades to repair, leaving poverty and stalled development, social fabric was torn by ethnic targeting and fear, years of patient work were needed to mend, the trauma echoes, a ghost in the nation's memory. His legacy is also whispers, verified fact mixed with lurid myth. We know his regime committed grotesque abuses. Mass graves document the dead. Survivors bear witness. Reports give meticulous proof. Political assassinations occurred. Ethnic purges devastated. Economic ruin followed. These truths must be remembered and taught to warn how fast society can descend into barbarism. Yet we must note what remains uncertain. Claims of cannibalism and occult practices circulated, used to shock and build an aura of inhuman power. History demands we distinguish known facts from rumor, not to excuse, but to honor truth, the first casualty of tyranny, the first requirement of justice. Why does this matter in 2025? Because it's a human story, of victims to be honored, of justice denied as Amin died free, of charismatic promises turned to suffering. Cherish democracy, protect human rights, be vigilant. The price of forgetting is too terrible to pay.